on immigrating again to Europe. So things sort of drifted from that, and also the events gave scientists time to catch up to these astounding, fantastic effects that are on the video. Here we have a collection of samples from 1979 to 1989 of metal pieces done by the Hutchison Effect apparatus. And we're going to start with the very first sample, which gained a lot of history around the world and also in a lot of national laboratories, which is this very large, heavy steel bar. As you can see here, the crumbling material here is off the end of this bar here, and actually is a transmuted material that is unknown in the metallurgical handbooks. And this particular sample has been to Germany, in the United States, in the United States National Laboratories, also in Japan and other locations, and extremely rare material that appears to be a major transmutation. Now, getting into another sample here, we find a heavy piece of what they call extruded brass that exploded with inside itself, ripping it into this pattern here, ripping it apart. Very heavy, dense material. This is another time frame of about 1987-88. Coming to this sample here of aluminum, we find that something wanted to get outside of the metal itself, and looking at it, you can see that the pressures inside of it indeed tried to get out. And going to samples that have other samples sitting on top of them, we have here a knife that was on a sample that got itself embedded into the sample, and apparently some type of transparency perhaps did happen. This particular sample was anchored down, and a machine was given to shave off the top layer of aluminum to get to this level here. This is extrusion alloy, not cast aluminium. And if you observe very carefully, there's a shadow of the knife itself embedded in the metal here on the back. So that's a stainless steel kitchen knife embedded in a piece of extruded alloy. We get to a piece of, again, extrusion with a piece of wood inside that has actually came up several times in various samples analyzed in Germany and at the national laboratories. Wood mixed in with the structure itself. And we're not sure exactly on this sample how much wood, maybe a cubic inch or more inside here. And coming to other samples, we find again samples that have ripped themselves apart and rejoined, as you can see in this little sample here. And then we come to breaks that indicate actually a lot of stress, as it's a nice clean cut and looks like a bent stress. So this is broken in a fashion perhaps like that. And then on the other side of the coin, we come to something that looks like it was ripped apart or turned to jelly and ripped apart and frozen in time and space. This large aluminum sample, again extrusion alloy, was once one piece and was totally formed like this after some experiments, actually seen on video. We come to more hard materials such as stainless steel that have just bent and twisted around with a lot of little pot marks and pieces falling out of it. Again, similar to the large piece of steel that I just mentioned, for being the very first sample. And this is just many samples that I do have and that other people do have that still are undergoing analysis around the world. And new theories are coming up almost weekly on what has happened here. On conventional physics, it would take terawatts of power to do this. There's no radio waves or anything that can do this. There's no electrostatic fields or lightning bolts that can do this. So in the way the theory is, keyway is made up of electromagnetic and electrostatic fields that I produce, opening a doorway into another dimension that allows any kind of amount of energy to come in and do this, to create these effects. And it must be on the order of terawatts to do this. We've had larger samples, of course, fall apart, break apart. And basically, again, it seems to come back into a circle that the universe supplies all the energy needed for mankind and also for propulsion and space travel. I don't go into mathematics at all. I visualize things and always joust, so to speak, the conventional scientists or the scientists with the mathematics by saying that intuition is a shortcut through math. I visualize this and I put it in the best words that I can find. I can actually see the atom. I can see the different interactions of the dimensions inside of an atom. And I can explain it in those terms, visualize it, and actually do it physically. But mathematically, I am a basket case when it comes to trying to understand mathematics. And I only use math in quantity. Like in electricity, I need mathematics. In electromechanical engineering, I need mathematics, just basic measurements. But when it comes to the exotic math, I'm a lost cause, so I must rely on intuition, which gives me a lot more to see and a lot more to do. I believe in doing it, and making the thing in reality instead of just drawing up a lot of numbers. There's a little bit of backbiting, but there's a lot around the world, scientists, very high-powered scientists, that were involved in the old Star Wars program, talking a lot of this now. They get into the psychic aspects of it, also the physics aspect of it also. A lot of the work is coming out and released with Lawrence Livermore. Still, Los Alamos is a little tight, but it's slowly loosening up. Colonel Alexander now is into remote viewing. He's the head fellow involved in non-lethal weapon technology. He made an appearance on a program called Encounters. Ed Dames is now out of the INSCOM group, Security Command group, now is on sightings. So there's a wave of media also coming forth, such as these programs showing what is really going on. Even ABC and NBC did a special on is remote viewing true or false, and they've got a positive situation on the 1/2 hour program. ABC, I believe, or NBC, one of the big networks in the States. So there's a lot of breakthrough in media coming slowly, but it's coming out more and more. And this will give people something to look at and think about. I think the mind can act as also a cohere of frequencies and transmit them out, and then lock this doorway into space and time. Some measurements at Stanford University and UCLA, Lawrence Livermore, Dr. Henry Strapp, William Tiller, put it at around 22 to 24 centimeter waveband that a lot of this activity happens at. And their tests are quite exhaustive and quite extensive, giving a lot of interesting results. With McDonnell Douglas, they do a multitude of spoon bending, where they take control samples and then, of course, they put them under the electron scanning microscope to see if they were bent by force or by mind. So breakthroughs are being done by Mr. Jan of Princeton University, who also is connected to McDonnell Douglas. And I'm not surprised even now if they have come across a formula on this area of physics, which has to be included. Everything is connected to everything else, in my opinion. Psychic to hardcore physics, let's say, outer fringe physics, time and space. cosmology, you name it.